Yeah, I think there are a ton of really smart people with a lot of ideas that are excited to contribute to progress, and they may be feeling bogged down by their jobs. Root to Progress initiative has really helped, I think, create a space and a path for people who carve out time and create messaging that will resonate with other people and share that message more broadly. Because I think a lot of the progress ideas exist within a somewhat narrow lens, whether that's with like kind of a think tank community or a Twitter community or more Silicon Valley focus, but helping people who are not part of those worlds understand why progress is necessary is kind of only possible through an independent institution that is bringing together a lot of really diverse perspectives.
I guess it's the first step, right, to creating a successful progress movement, is getting scholars together, thinkers together, and getting them publicity. And so this seems like a really amazing way to get that process started. People who are ambitious and want to write and can collaborate easily and just catalyzing that process. That seems like very valuable to me.
One of the key things for talent development is like, it's not just helping out the people that are already clearly great at what they're doing, but it's also finding the people that otherwise you wouldn't find. Like as a coach, this is like what I think about when I think about talent development. I think like talent selection, you've done a really good job.
I think people should apply to become part of this movement. I wish there were more like us, and I think there are more like us. It's really just about identifying people who are already out there and connecting them and bringing them together. So I think everyone who's interested in these topics should apply to use this as an opportunity to expand the movement and get these ideas.
One of my regrets perhaps is I didn't do it earlier. Well, this is the first program, so I couldn't have done it earlier. I'm already 39, but so I'm no longer really at the beginning of my career, but I think it's really gonna change your life. If you feel like me and you have been surrounded by these people who don't really believe in progress, it's such a unique experience to be surrounded by people who have this similar orientation.
So I think that the progress movement is so sort of fractured among all sorts of different people that are interested in these things but kind of working alone, and that there is so much utility in being someone who brings people together. Like it's a super connect. I think it's really unique. You can get writing training places, but not with a particular like bent to it. Like everyone here has a very similar and kind of unique worldview, and getting writing feedback from people that have a worldview like that is very special, and you're not going to get that from just random writing training that you find online. Like it's entirely unique.
You could just send me a check, that'd be great. But actually that wouldn't be as good as what's happening here. We're all getting ideas about the connections. We all bring different skills that we're doing well in our own work, but so then we can share those strengths with each other. So even more than just trying to support an individual, I think supporting us as a fellowship has really grown everyone's work a lot.
I think you guys, and you've done a good job of putting yourselves out there as people who are taking charge, taking initiative, and then I think the results of this program will kind of speak to the advocacy. And I think you have a vision. Like the vision is really compelling. Easy for me to see how this becomes this flywheel that is just like incredibly powerful.
So maybe you could frame this in the classic EA way of the three branches. It's impact, tractability, and neglectedness. And I think Roots of Progress is probably the strongest in the last two. It's a lot of young and early career people who can have a big impact on somebody by making even a relatively small grant, and that can really like snowball throughout their whole career. And neglectedness, I also think, is quite high. Like I don't know of any other organizations that are doing quite the same thing and trying to cultivate this important intellectual movement.
Here's the thing. Writers don't always make a lot of money, but their ideas are insanely influential. And if we want more writers to be writing about how we can have a better future, we need to be funding them somehow.
I think we're in a cultural moment, a political moment that is overwhelmingly dominated by cynicism, by toxic irony, all these sorts of things. And I think like optimism is almost subversive, and thinking about the future and caring about the future is subversive, and it's much needed. Yeah, and the people in my cohort, and I'd imagine the people in future cohorts, will be an antidote to that problem.
You know, this is the first cohort, And by the 5th or 6th cohort, you're really going to be seeing those impacts as, you know, this first 20 meets the next groups of 20 over and over again, and those groups connect to each other, that those benefits are just going to magnify across programs.
Just big +1, big endorsement for Roots of Progress program, and yeah, the blog building has been highlight of my year for sure.